So I'll like to add one more point here, though we were supposed to answer the financial benefits as well here. So here, considering ESG, if your goal is to have financial benefits, then I would rather say, don't opt for this, because you should have long-term goal here. If you're opting for ESG parameters, you want to imbibe ESG in your organization, you should have long-term goals. If your goals is end objective is to get profitability out of it. So obviously, if you'll have long-term goals, then you would have a greater or say a better results. If we compare green funds, like what Prateek said, to a non-green funds, though they are performing right now very well, there is a 2x difference between these kind of funds right now, if I'll compare. But like what he said, there is altogether different picture. If you'll go behind, you'll understand, you'll assess those funds as well. You'll come to know true picture about those funds as well, how they are performing and why they are performing better than this. Because there is investors who's driving these funds. Investors wants to invest into these green funds majorly, so that's the reason why they don't know what are the parameters, why they are there in these green funds. They're investing because they're trusting those companies, because they have, maybe I can give one example, the one which is performing well, MSCI indexes are doing good right now. But no one knows what are the parameters, what are the methodologies, why they have included which kind of companies they have included in there. So if as an investor, if you want to do the investment in any of these green companies, like Prateek said, you need to do the assessment yourself. You need to understand what are the parameters, why they are there in these kind of organizations, whether they are really sustainable or not. So, and talking about the financial benefits, yes, in long term there is financial benefits, because if you understand, there will be a regulator who will be driving these kind of requirements to all organizations. Giving you a simple example of oil and gas only. If in case tomorrow, like what we have right now, a goal of 2030 is to make sure that 50% of our energy consumptions should come from renewable energy sources. That simply is going to impact oil and gas, obviously, because the traditional energy sources is thermal energy, right? So that is going to impact 50% obviously to thermal side. And if that is going to impact there, obviously there will be a time when there will be a stranded assets with these kind of companies as well, which will obviously impact this company in a longer term, not in a short term. So if you see, if they are not, if they are not diversifying their business now, you never know whether they'll be there in future or not. So that should be the end goal. That's my view. But yeah, happy to answer any other questions as well.
Mine, you have
I'd
something to
like to
say?
add a couple of points on maybe my experience and my opinion. So I'd like to complement what Narendra was mentioning about the financial benefits of ESG integration in the organizations. First thing is, previously when we look at 10, 15 years ago, so the concept of sustainability or the sustainability department or function is seen as a cost-centric function in the organizations. It's kind of a perception that company is investing into this particular department, but there is no returns or no revenues out of this department. It's kind of, I shouldn't mention that word, but it was treated as stepmotherly treatment to that particular function. This was unfortunate thing, but over the period of time, what happened was maybe because of significant improvement in terms of buzzing word of sustainability or ESG. A lot of people are more aware about ESG, and companies are also looking into focusing on ESG. Right now, talking about financial benefits, yes, companies have financial benefits, but not directly. In most of the cases, indirect benefits are definitely there. If you look at finance versus ESG, right? If you look separately, then you have very low returns or low yielding, in terms of the business revenues. But when you integrate finance plus ESG, right, together, that's where you get more returns. If you look at in the last 2 years during the pandemic, companies which has a better policies or procedures of ESG, integrating sustainability concepts in their business operations, they sustained very well in the pandemic. They had very much less impact in their business compared to the organizations which does not have any processes or procedures. So that gives a confidence to organizations that integrating sustainability is more prominent. Maybe we don't know how many COVID-19s or COVID-25s we get in the future, but definitely that's where business sustainability comes into picture, and that definitely financial benefits are there. And secondly, on the rating agencies, right? Uh, I mean, investors. They don't have a specific rating agencies in mind for the organizations to focus more upon, but organizations, would basically they have, you know, for example, let's talk about DJSI. 10 years ago or even today, getting listed on DJSI index seems to be privileged for most of the organizations. But now, after the companies have more awareness on sustainability and ESG, um, there's a lot of competition in getting listed on DJSI index, and the probability of getting a better rating has been significantly reduced. So then a lot of other rating platforms have come into picture, such as MSCI or Sustainalytics or S&P Global, which was previously DJSI. Now it is S&P Global ESG score. Or there's a proxy rating agencies such as Glass Lewis or Sensefolio. There are many rating agencies that is coming to picture. But the purpose of the rating or their methodology is significantly different. For example, MSCI, it is majorly the weightage driven or the focus on ESG aspects, right? So that is different. The purpose of rating agency or their methodology is different. Whereas in Sustainalytics methodology, it is majorly focusing on the company's management of risk that is exposed to, right? How the company is managing such risks. So the rating methodologies has been different. So there is no standard way of, there is no standard rating platform that is considered for the organizations, unless SEBI mandates that from next year or 2 years down the line. But that's how it is. There's no standard thing as of now. India is in the nascent stage when compared to other European region. Europe is significantly advanced in terms of the sustainability and ESG journey, but India is comparatively very in the beginning and taking baby steps now. It's taking time, but it's progressing. The regulation started in India was in the year 2011, but there's a significant change after 10 years in the BRSR. Previously it was BRR, now it is BRSR. That's the only mandate in India. That progress is there, but it's a slow. Maybe slow and steady wins the race.
Yes, well, compared to Europe and US, we are one of the most populous countries. So, of course, my last question to all of you all would be, what would be the key learnings or takeaways you all intend to give in terms of knowledge to the students attending these sessions? So, what is your aim that this is after this session or after my teaching, they should be capable of that one thing and implement it in their companies or in their day-to-day work? So that one thing that they should know after your session is completed with them.
Let me get started on this question. So, we've got a very diversified cohort here, and it's a very strong cohort. And I've put this message in our WhatsApp group as well. And now meeting you in person, I see that the richness of the experience we all bring in together, right? And I would look myself as a facilitator here in the sessions to come in the future, where I can enable the discussions on the topics of ESG, sustainable finance, etc. And how can we leverage the experience that we have from different sectors within the cohort and enable a cross learning within the group. That's my thought.
So before starting, let me give disclaimer first, because we are speaking about the evolving subject. So while having these discussions in coming 3-4 months, if there is any new regulations or if there is any new maybe say major concept introduction. So while we have those kind of concepts as well in place, we'll try and address those things as well. Giving you a simple example, like for scope 4 emission, avoided emissions is what we are hearing majorly these days from various customers as well. So this subject is evolving right now. So that's why I'll rather say that you should expect us also to learn in case you're coming across with some new, maybe evolving new topic as well. That is one. Second, I'll rather make sure that, we be more transparent even in our organization. We learn the word transparency rather than, just for the heck of environment doing it. Let's not do this. Let's do this because we want to see that, our future generation can see these environment what we can see right now. So I'll rather make sure that, I'll teach what I know, and how we can be more transparent and make sure that our organization is also equally transparent in terms of disclosing what Jangu sir have said, being more governance about our own internal policies also should be addressed. So those things is what I'll make sure that we should be focusing towards.
Yeah. Yeah, it was a great mix of audience that we have for the sessions, right? Maybe in the next couple of months also. So my suggestion for the audience is to first understand the concept. Once you understand, it will be easier for you to take action in the future, be it your organizations or even in your personal lives. Maybe if you want to practice sustainability as something, you can do that. Once you understand it, it will be easier for you to take some action. And secondly, do not get into like, okay, I want to do this, or company or any regulation want me to do this. Just tick in the box. No, just go beyond that. No, make sure sustainability runs in your blood, and then take it forward. That's it.
Thanks. I would like to put a slightly different perspective, going through my own journey. So I would, from what I've learned, couple of things that you should watch out for and be wary of. One is what I started in the end as well. There is a bias because of what's happening to our planet towards Z, but you all are all ESG, and that's extremely required. So please focus 33, 33, 33, whatever ratio you decide, right? Number one. Number two, as you get deeper into some of these issues around environment and social, and you start reading, there's a lot of bad things happening. There's a lot of mess happening. There might be a tendency to become a little cynical or negative about stuff. Watch out for that. Initially, I went down that path. So please watch out. There is hope. Keep in mind, keep a perspective on this, that compared to say 1 year back or 2 year back or even 3 year back, we are moving the needle. Whether at an individual level, company level, country level, global level, there's a lot of bad happening. If you start reading about 1.5 degrees and all the gloom and doom, you will get a little cynical. But always keep in mind that as ESG practitioners, we are here to move the needle. And as society, as companies, as countries, it's not maybe at the pace that is required, but it is happening. So watch out for that cynicism not creeping in. Be positive. As a human race, we have survived, we will survive, and we will thrive. So, initially I went through that phase. So, and I'm sure some of you might go through that. So do watch out for that. And finally, as he mentioned, a lot of what you'll read about ESG, especially when you do a Google or a press, will be around frameworks and reporting. Don't overemphasize on that. Those are all end results, right? As long as we practice ESG in its true form, the report will come out. Like when you go to school or college, yes, mark sheets are important, but that's not what you're there for. You're there to practice something. So negativity, a lot of gloom doom, and overemphasis on reporting and frameworks may sometimes take your mind away from the actual crux of the journey and the matter. So do focus on that. There are lots of very interesting technologies which are coming on the environment side, whether it's carbon capture, water, all kinds of things. There are a lot of people doing a lot of good stuff. Even on the social side, it's getting increasingly more measurable, manageable, penalized, etc., which is moving the needle. And governance is already always a moving target. So I wish all of you all the best, and hope all of us together create some impact to our planet, to our society, and govern it well. Thank you.
Thank you very much for all the speakers. Do we have any questions over here? And I would like to acknowledge Pratyush sir.
We will keep to the perspective of, yeah. So after search this thing, exchange of views, two questions, maybe one from the Zoom participants, and then other interaction can definitely will be on spot so that we increase our governance part, at least with this, and we stick to our time. Thank you. Over to sir and then question.
No question, small contest what sir say with all due regard, respect to you sir and everyone. Human species has there, will be there, and we have sustained. And this earth has seen thousands and thousands of species as extinct. We only know a few words. So let's not assume we'll be there after 100 or 1,000 years. Let's not assume. The moment we assume, we destroy entire ESG. I'm telling you, growing up to keeping Earth's temperature by 1.5 degree. Today, what we all are doing, COP27 also said yesterday, it is humanly not possible. What we are doing, we're nowhere close to 1.5, nowhere absolutely. Lot more need. You also acknowledge that we all have to do that. So this myth, I want to take it out from everybody, that we are here, we don't know, 5 generations down the line, our species will be there or not. There is no guarantee. Thank you.
Okay, the question please. A question can be direct, not the perspective, as the panelists were.
Yeah, so my question is to Mr. Jangu. Like, I understand as you explained that the framework will be the impact of what we will do for ESG. But to start the ESG practice, to introduce it to an organization, so there should be some guideline. What exactly we should follow to introduce this? When we don't have, like, if we say 1,000 companies from the next, SEBI has mandated that BRSR is to be there. So should we start with following the BRSR guideline, or how to start? What are the things we should actually maintain for social? What are the things should be there for environment? How we will be able to understand, is there any guideline or anything that will help us to follow to start the journey?
Sure, I'll allude to what we discussed in the previous panel, and I'm sure as we go along the session, we'll learn more of that. I think the first step, to my mind, and I think most consultants and practitioners agree, and people who have gone through that journey as well, is to figure out what is material for you. So materiality actually finally decides what is impact, and as Priyanka mentioned, in today's perspective, having a double materiality concept is very important, because as an enterprise, by your very existence as a company, organization, you are making some impacts. But it's more important to realize what are the risks and opportunities that come to you as an organization. So I would say a good first place to start is have a materiality assessment done. It's not a very difficult exercise. And then as you go along the journey of baselining yourself, things like BRSR actually help you to baseline, because it makes you measure yourself on so many parameters that you figure, okay, vis-a-vis my materiality, where am I? And I think then you can have a natural progression, and there are various tools, advisories available as well. But a good place to start would be materiality.
Adding to what Jangu said, so actually Vidya have already addressed about this. How do we embed ESG in corporations, right? So what he said is to understand the materiality. You would come to know about your current state, where you are right now. If you know where you are right now, understand where you want to be. What is your end objective and goal? You know what is your end objective and goal? That is the gap assessment which you want to fill up. So that's what you need to do. How you can achieve your end goal, where you are right now, and how you can fill up the goal. By filling up the goals, you'll achieve your end goals, and ultimately company will meet all requirements as well, like what he said previously.
Okay, with moderator, over to you.
Any other questions over here? Anyone online?
Okay, good. Online. No question.
No questions online?
Can I?
Uh,
Sure.
Okay, I just wanted to answer her question of where do we start from? The ESG parameters. In India we have exempt taxation, everything will come by design with a complication only, so that we all get confused for a couple of years. Then they make money and then they finally derive at what they want to do. So that has happened to ESG also. Like panelists themselves are saying that we do not know exactly what is going to happen, who is going to be the authorized auditors or which system to follow. So I just want to give my experience, like a couple of platforms like EcoVadis, SEDEX, they're the starting point for any corporate to enter into the ESG frame. So EcoVadis gives a very measurable number, which is very similar to our academics, 0 to 100. Like if you're at about 30, 35, you're just passed. You're at 60, you're moderate. And if you're above 75, you're excellent. So it's just a very symmetric thing. It has got a complete template to run through. Once you start putting your numbers and data in that, it'll give you a score. Then you have to submit that. And once you submit, it'll give you another 1 year for you to completely improve upon everything. And the next year you resubmit. You expect to score at least 10% more. So everywhere the mandatory requirement is every claim that you do is supposed to have a evidence, a documentary endorsed audited evidence. You have to upload that. And then the system reviews it and the scoring is done. So this is a starting point for us.
That's so nice that some more clarification has come from the audience. And with this, we thank the moderator and the panelist for the good job they have done to be in front of the battlefield and answer the questions, which is not itself clear. Neither the question is clear nor the answer. That's why practitioners are required. It is as good as the law. From the ancient time to the modern era, and law is evolving, so are the practitioners' role will evolve, so their gurus will involve and the students. So big round of applause to them. And now I request Ms. Harsha to facilitate it from Mr. Jangu first. That we will take it with Harsha and later we'll stick to the time for the compliance purpose at least. At least we should learn one thing and implement. Next, Mr. Vidya. Round of applause, please. Lunch is also around. Mr. Narendra. And Mr. Pratik. So thank you very much, Harsha. Now I have left with no other job except to invite you for the lunch, get some energy, spend some energy in the lunch only with the panelists so that we don't intrude in others' time. And we will be back by 2 o'clock so that we start and continue with our journey of the learning to 2:30 till 3:30. Thank you very much.